AgResearch's campus in Mosgiel hosts a centre for reproduction and genomics. 50 scientists and technicians are now engaged in research made possible by the sequencing of the bovine genome. The centre formalises an ongoing collaboration between AgResearch and the University of Otago.
Otago University and AgResearch have a long history of working together. This relationship brings together two key elements. It brings together the expertise AgResearch has in livestock species, high-throughput genomics, and it couples that with the medical focus that the University of Otago predominantly has. And what we're hoping to achieve from that synergy of expertise is, I guess, something that's going to be greater than the sum of its parts. Really, the advantage of having a genome sequence is not what that single genome tells you, it's what that genome in comparison to other genomes might tell you. So, for example, when we're looking at humans to cows, we may be able to make comparisons between those two and draw some insights into how both organisms function. Things like dairy cows, things like sheep. And what we're doing here at the Centre for Reproduction and Genomics is that we're taking those advances and, literally genomes are being sequenced now in a year, 6 months, to a relatively high standard, which then sets forward a blueprint of future work. And, recently the bovine genome was published. That was 2 weeks ago in Science. We've got the ovine genome well underway, and who knows, the potential to take that into deer, into poultry, into non-classical species like aquaculture in New Zealand is quite considerable.
Genomics is the study of genetics at the DNA level. So if we talk about the genome, we're talking about the combination of all the chromosomes and all the genes within them. Yeah, the bovine genome sequence was primarily organised in America, and we were part of a big collaboration, international one, and the idea behind sequencing the bovine genome was so that we could capture the information in it. The first really tangible output of that was these SNP chips. They capture about 60,000 pieces of information that's represented as DNA markers, all in one go on one little slide. I think the main thing that we can see right at the moment this year is the example that the dairy industry has provided for us, and they've been able to produce bulls that look like they're going to produce a lot greater genetic gain. So their offspring will be able to advance genetically a lot faster than they could before, thanks to using the DNA information off these SNP chips. Now, as well as improving the genetic gain compared with what they normally do in these industries where they take maybe 7 years for bulls to be proven, these DNA chips, you can look at the bull when he's really young. And so the reason why they make a greater gain is really that they can get the generation level down and turn the generations over a lot quicker in terms of the part that comes from the sire, which is where the gain's being made. You can look at enzymes in the liver to understand how animals are responding to facial eczema, for instance, and we can convert that information from the research community straight into the breeding community and get those traits out there in the industry as well. So this is one of the FE samples.
Yes, it's looking well. Everything's come out nice and bright.
Yeah. I think we're going to be fine. All green as well, which is good.
Check one of the other ones, but...
So the semen, you're going to run one chip?
We'll have bloods on the end as well, so that could be a good comparison as well.
Yep. Again, because the dairy industry are the first ones that we can start to have a look at, it seems that we can get the gain moving a lot quicker. Perhaps we can double the rate of genetics that we have been able to do before. And the significance, I think, will also not only be with the gain on those traditional traits, but what the value is of the other traits. And do we customise, and can we, for the first time, look at what we were talking about, niche traits? So the goal in the next couple of years is to have the technology come down to a price where it's a lot more accessible, not only for breeding and elite tier animals, but also for making selection decisions with your animals.
In collaboration with the University of Otago, we have access to what they call genomic sequencing technology now. We can generate a whole swag of new information which will actually deliver new outcomes at the farm gate. So, you know, people will be able to know much more about their animals, about their breeding stock, and be able to make some pretty good informed predictions about what selection on particular traits is going to mean at a whole genome level. And that's really important, because in the past, when we haven't had that information, we've been selecting on particular traits, sometimes with unintended consequences. And with the genome sequence now, we can look and we can say, okay, these genes seem to be associated with a trait of interest, let's say, for example, muscling, but it also happens to be in close linkage, close physical proximity to a gene that might be associated with susceptibility to parasites. And so, you know, farmers will be able to make, and in fact will have to make, I think, some choices about what particular path they want to go. Do they want to go for maximal productivity on one trait or on another? Or is a nice homeostatic type balance, is that the better approach?
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.